Speaking of running backs, there's the Heisman Trophy, one of the two won by Archie Griffin. He is this week's iconic person, presented by TIAA. The only person ever to win 2 Heisman trophies, Columbus native Archie Griffin is a Buckeye through and through. As a starter on 4 straight Big Ten championship teams, Griffin rushed for nearly 5,600 yards at Ohio State, still a school record more than 40 years after his graduation. Griffin was a first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals and played 7 years in the NFL. Archie is one of the most recognizable faces of Ohio State, having served as president and CEO of the school's Alumni Association. He was the first Buckeye football player ever to have his jersey number retired and is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. And 2-time Heisman Trophy winner Archie Griffin is with us now. Archie, so great to have you here.
Well, good to be with you, Dave.
What does it mean for you, and you've been doing it for years, but walking around Columbus on a football Saturday, what is that like?
Oh, it's terrific. Ohio State has some wonderful fans, and I love being around them. They're terrific. As you can hear them now, I mean, they're always supporting the Buckeyes, and every week in the big stadium here, we have about 105,000 to 107,000 people. I mean, you can't beat that.
I mentioned in the piece that you, for years, were the head of the Alumni Association. I know you've transitioned to a different job here at Ohio State. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm now senior advisor for advancement, and I do continue to be involved with the Alumni Association, but I'm also involved with communications and development, doing events and things that I'm asked to do from the administration of the university.
You know, it's so fascinating to see someone who symbolizes a school. I mean, you in many ways are the face of Ohio State. Why did this place resonate so much with you? Because it feels like, obviously, football's a part of it, but it seems like there's even more to that.
Well, it's easy. It's home for me. I was born and raised right here in Columbus. Actually born right over there at the Ohio State University Hospital, so I didn't fall too far from the tree. So it's very, very special. Played my high school football here, and I was even fortunate enough to play pro football right here in Ohio, too. So Columbus is really, really very special, mainly because it's home, and I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of fine people that's done some wonderful things for me and helped me along the way. In particular, I'd like to mention Coach Woody Hayes, who I thought was fabulous as a person and certainly as a football coach. But one of the things that he really left an impression on me with was his paying forward mantra. And paying forward is something that we do at Ohio State. That's part of being a Buckeye, is paying forward. But we all got that from Coach Woody Hayes.
You and I were talking once, and I remember you telling me about the recruiting with Woody Hayes, and where he basically didn't speak to you at all about football, and you were convinced when you went home, you told your dad, I don't think he wants me to play for him.
When he recruited me, the first time that I sat down with him and had dinner at the Highlight Restaurant, which was his favorite, he never mentioned one thing to me about football. And when I left that dinner, I figured he looked at me, thought that I was only 5 foot 8 inches tall, and at that time weighing about 160-something pounds because I was wrestling at the time. I thought he didn't want me to play. But he continued to recruit me, and I'm so glad that I chose to come to Ohio State University, because I'll never forget that first meeting that we attended. The first thing that he told all of us is we were in school for anything else other than to get an education. Then we might as well get up and leave his meeting. Education was very, very important to him, and that first evening when I sat down with him at dinner, that's all he talked about was education. Didn't mention football, but he did talk education.
Well, Woody, his influence felt so deeply around this program. I mean, everywhere you go, you're at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, you're on Woody Hayes Drive. What about Urban Meyer? What have you seen from him, and how do you assess his success as a coach and what the keys are? You made it clear what Woody did so well. What does Urban do so well?
Well, I think Urban does some of the same things really well. He really cares about the players, and that's very, very important, because kids need to know that you care about them. He cares about their future and what they're going to do after football, because he realizes, only a very small few are going to have that opportunity to play in the professional ranks, and he wants to make sure that they are very, very successful after they get out of college and then on to their everyday life. And he has a program where guys will come in on Wednesday evenings, especially in the offseason, to talk to young people, just talk to the players about careers. And I think that's important because these young people need to know that, hey, football is great and we love it, but there's life after football.
What has stood out to you about the job he has done with this team in particular, given how much he lost to the NFL?
Well, I think the marvelous job that he's done with this team is handling the youth, because this team is a very, very young team. I mean, we lost, about 16 starters from last year. And this group, it doesn't surprise me that they're winning because they're very, very talented. But it surprises me a little bit that they're winning by the margins that they're winning. And that credit goes to Urban and the coaching staff because they've been able to keep this team together and play extremely well. And even on the road, I mean, that Oklahoma game on the road, I mean, that was hostile territory. And they were able to go there, stay poised, and play great football.
One of the guys who's played particularly well, Mike Weber, the freshman running back. I'm sure you watch the running backs particularly closely.
I like Mike. He's kind of a smaller guy like I was.
Right.
So I enjoy watching him run. He particularly had a great game last week, and he's doing pretty good. He's having over 100 yards a game, and I think he'll continue to do that. He's pretty special.
Speaking of over 100 yards a game, there's only one guy in the NFL who can make that claim right now, and it is Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Zeke was a fabulous back here, and we knew that from day one when he came here, that he was going to be a great one. He's the type of guy that can do it all, not only run with the football, but he also catches passes extremely well and blocks extremely well. So it doesn't surprise me. He'll continue to have a great career with the Dallas Cowboys. They play my Bengals this week, though, so I want Zeke to play well, but I want my Bengals to win.
Well, Archie, it is always a pleasure to be in your company. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Best of luck with the new position.
Well, thank you, Dave. Appreciate that.
And
And it's always great to be with you, too. You do a wonderful job.
All right, thanks, Archie. Thanks a lot for your support.